So how did I open my account to trade on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? This is a question that many of you have been asking ever since I posted a video to start the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange sort of series last week. And today I'm going to answer that question and walk you through, guys, go through with you even into my emails to show you exactly what type of email and the response that I got and how I did this process. Hi guys, Maro back again. This is the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange series. This is really a series which I started because I felt like I needed to just share with you guys what I thought about where to put money as Zimbabweans, as Zimbabwean youths, as Zimbabwean adults, even if there are children watching, for Zimbabwean children, where to put money, the sort of haven which I think you should put your money so that you can actually stay in there for a long time and so that you can reap the rewards in a long time, not only you, but your generations to come. Alright, so let's jump into it. How did I actually open my account on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange to trade? And so I was just on my long holiday. I had finished my exams. I had been reading about the stock exchange for a very long time, but I felt I couldn't act on it because I didn't have any money. But then one day, as I was having my internship on my gap year after I finished my A-level, I worked for a while. And as I was having my internship, it struck to me that, wow, you know what? How about I just reach out? At that point, I thought that it was only the rich people who would actually invest on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. I thought it was just reserved for, big pension funds and high net worth individuals, that they would be the only people to invest. But then I reached out. And so the first thing I did really is that I went to the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange website, a link which I gave you guys last week, and a link which I'll also leave in the description below. And when I went to the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange website, I realized that there were about 12 brokers at that time. And I went through all of them. I sifted through, a couple of them and took the ones that their websites looked promising. I just chose a broker based on the website, believe me. And I think the broker that had one of the best websites at that point was Lynton-Edwards Stockbrokers. And that's the stockbroker that I decided, not only did they have a good website, they also did have, their contact details there. They had their email and their phone number and everything else, and it looked like a very, very lively stockbroking firm. And so I decided, like any other person, to reach out, just to shoot out a cold email to see what they would actually say about me investing on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. And so, I typed my email inquiry on registration, and I really wanted to know how I would actually have to start this whole process. Just like any other student, we are taught, you start your letter by writing Dear Sir or Madam, which is what I did here. I wrote Dear Sir or Madam, and I said, my name is Tafazo Brian Marombeza, and I want to put my passion of investing on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange into action. I don't know how I was thinking with those words, but I said, may you please give me the requirements required to open, an account with your brokerage firm. I was trying to sound as very professional as I could because I thought, if I didn't really sound professional, these guys would not allow me to open my account. And, I sent this email on January 25. They responded in a very short time. They responded within an hour. And this guy who responded is actually now one of the sort of best business talk show hosts who hosts this guy, Kudzanai Sharara. If you're on Twitter, you can follow him. He's an amazing guy. And he said, Tafazwa, thank you for your email. Please find, the attached information so that you can start trading with us. And I thought, well, they were going to ask me, who are you? How much money do you have and stuff? But then he just attached these two attachments so that I would start. And, there's sort of, just a readout of what they give to their clients. And I said, you complete the opening form and the mandate and then send it to us. And then you also need a central securities depository account. And he said, you send us instructions and then we execute the instructions. And then he came to the charges, which is something that a couple of you guys did ask after I posted my last video. And for the charges, really, it's if you're buying shares, you will incur something like 1.693%, or at least at that time, you would incur 1.693% of the money. And so I don't know if you wanted to buy $100 worth of shares, you needed to fund your brokerage account, not only the $100 plus 1.693 of other total costs. Well, you'd ask, what are these costs? They're brokerage costs. Of course, these guys who are the stockbrokers who are executing the instructions for you to trade, they need a little bit of money. And then there's the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange levy. As an institution, the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange does get money every time you buy or sell shares. There's the Central Securities Depository levy. The CSD also gets sort of a commission when you buy or sell shares. The Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe also gets a levy from there. There's the Investor Protection Levy, stamp duty, capital gains. You don't actually get charged capital gains when you buy, but when you sell. And there's also the VAT, just like any other regular person within the economy pays VAT. And so the total of this will be 1.693%, which is what in July 2015 it was. As of now, we'll make another video in the future because we need to follow up on them, not only with Lynton-Edwards, but with many other stockbrokers within the country. Try to get the 17 of them to give us what their cost structure is at the moment. And in a future video, I'll talk to you guys about what the current cost structure is. And they gave me their banking details. This is what you do. So when I have money, I simply send it to their Stanbic bank account, and they process it. It reflects on their side with their name. I call them and I say, I've funded my account. Have you seen it? They will tell me, yes, we have seen that you have put in $100 in your account. What do you want? And they say, well, Econet, for example, is going for $1 per share. And I say, I want $100 worth of Econet. And they say, well, it's okay, but your money can only buy 92 shares of Econet because some of us, that is in expenses and stuff. And they say, well, either I'll fund more or that's it, do it. And then they also did give me sort of what I needed for me to start. So I'm just going to go through the individual, what you need as an individual to open your account. So you need a fully open, mandate form, which is what gives them information on who you are and where you live and stuff like that. And then an identity document that you need, a copy that can either be your national ID as a Zimbabwean, a passport. Also as a Zimbabwean, if you're a foreigner, you also need a passport. You need a proof of residence, just like most of the things. You need 2 passport size photos. The second attachment really was, as I was saying, this was the form which you are required to fill in. So it's just asking you, where do you live? Are you a corporate? Are you an individual? What's your ID number? And this is just like basic know your client stuff. And then after that, there was another follow-up email from another person who was called Tara. She actually turned out to be very helpful in the end. She was the one who constantly communicated with me over my account. And she did state at that time what they recommend, not what they require, but what they recommend you invest, which at this point she said, we recommend that you spend no less than $50 to $100 at a time. This was the time, I should say, when the economy was dollarized and we're using US dollars, and this was sort of the base to which they would recommend their clients to sort of invest at every time when they executed a trade. We came up to the issue of the custodial bank, and this is when they told me they used CBZ as their custodian, but they also told me that if I wanted to open an account with another custodian bank in Zimbabwe, I could. And they also told me their address to those who might want to visit them to verify this information, or to just go and open your accounts and walk in and say that you were referred by me. That would be great. I mean, they don't know I'm doing this video, but it would also be great for them to know that one of their clients is actually so happy that he's making videos. They're at 129 Kwame Nkrumah Avenue in Harare. That is between 5th and 6th Street. Where Holiday Inn is, you have like 5th and 6th. And there's just a small strip of whatever there. It's a nice, I think they have like palm trees on the outside, so you see it, Lynton-Edwards Stockbrokers. At the end of this chain is that I actually said, well, I would like to meet the managing director of the firm just for me to get sort of the hold of what's happening within the market. I wanted to get to know someone, who is higher up, who understood this market for a very long time. To my sort of shock, they actually said yes. And she said, as soon as you have, a time to come in, you can tell me when to come in. And I went with my friend Denzel Goredema. He's an amazing guy who, sort of introduced me to this stock exchange stuff. And I went with my friend Denzel, and we actually got to meet the managing director of the firm. We talked about, how the market was behaving. That is, of course, if you're a first-time investor and you have read lots of stuff, but you want to talk to a human being who really understands this stuff and ask them what they think of the market as a sentiment. And I do have a couple of videos coming up that I've generated because of the questions that you guys have asked me. I am trying to work as hard as I can to try to release maybe every 4 or 5 days a video so that I can cover all these questions in this Zimbabwe Stock Exchange series. So the biggest question was how you open an account, and I think I have covered that. And someone also asked, how does C-Trade work? That's an amazing question. I do have a C-Trade account myself. That's my second other account which I use for trading on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and I'm going to talk about that in the next video. There were also questions on the updated requirements now that there's inflation and everything, what you actually need, the minimum. So in this video I referred to the fact that Tara told me that I needed $50 to $100, but what about now? And I'm trying by all means. I have someone who is on the ground who is helping me, coming up with a video where we're going to actually know currently what the 17 stockbrokers, 18 of course plus C-Trade, what the 18 stockbrokers on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange require as of now for you to open an account, and that will be coming in a future video. I'm also going to have a video where I state my bull case for the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Of course, the bull case is why I think, or why I am bullish, or why I feel good about the future of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. And when I say future, I'm not referring to 2 months or 1 year. I'm really referring to 5, 10, 20 or 50-year horizon. I have sort of a very long-term view in this, and if you have watched the video that I did before, I took a long-term view and I said, I'm thinking of this as building wealth, not just for you, but for your kids, your grandkids, and all your descendants. And I will state my bull case for the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Someone did ask along this line whether I did not think that the South African Stock Exchange or the Johannesburg Stock Exchange was better. Well, I do not have a lot of expertise on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. My sort of circle of competence, which is what I think I can speak authoritatively about, is the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, because I've been following it for a very long time. And so I would not know anyone who I think I would recommend for you guys to watch, but you're free to watch, of course. You just search on YouTube and figure out people who talk about the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and see whether that will be something that you're interested in. And there's going to be another video also on the passive and the enterprising investor. The passive investor being someone who just invests and then they sort of forget about it but keep on investing over a long period of time. But the enterprising investor being someone who checks the markets, the newspapers, to see what the markets are doing, and to try and see any dislocation within the market, try to see that, well, maybe investors are dumping Econet, but there is really no rationality as to the reasons why they are giving for dumping Econet. And so I'm going to talk about these two sort of sides of investors, whether it's good to be a passive investor or whether it's good to be an enterprising investor. And also another video that I'll make in the future based on the questions that I've been receiving is the tips for the enterprising investor. What I think those who are really interested in markets and want to follow them every day, what I think I should do, what tools are there for them to follow through the markets and gain everything. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been amazing. This will, I think, is an amazing sort of series that I've started, and you guys have responded very positively, and I really like that. Keep the questions coming on, and like this video, share it with a couple of your friends who you think might be interested in learning more about the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, which I think is an amazing way to sort of gain momentum, to sort of gain wealth in the long term. And see you guys in the next video. Don't forget, of course, if you haven't subscribed, you need to subscribe and click on the bell so that, of course, when I upload the next video, as I'm trying to catch up with this, I'll try to upload it in the next 4 or 5 days, but as I upload it, you'll be able to get it. And so until next time, see you. My name is Maro.